Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Fun Day Friday here on July the 18th, 2025. The offering for Fun Day Friday in this week is Status Pro. And we're not talking Status Pro Advanced, we're talking the old school original from back in the day. Decided to pick a July 18th game from 1986, and that's what we're going with. It is the Dodgers against the Cardinals. Fernando Valenzuela against Danny Cox. So I've got the line score here. I've got the benches and bullpens here. Home batting. I'm sorry, home pitching, visiting batting, visiting pitching, home batting. Benches and bullpens for both teams are over here. I do have the score sheet. Need to put in Madlock at third, hitting third. That was a little snafu there, but no ratings. I don't need the ratings. I got the ratings on the card, so I'm just going to fill it in as we play. But it is going to be a 1986 Status Pro. That'll be the offering for this week on Fun Day Friday. Hello, Aaron. Hello, Jeremiah. All right. Again, this is old school, no dice, all fast action cards, just, basically. And this is the, it's a little beat up, but this is the original game box that I had with this. Remember this from the old days. It is kind of beat up, but that gives it part of its charm, I think, having the old beat up stuff. So let's get this ball game rolling. Let's go through the starting lineups real quick. For the it's not a dramatic game. I just happened to pick this game because I figured the real thing is just to play Status Pro. It really didn't matter what the game was. So it's Sachs at second, Landreaux in center, Madlock at third, Stubbs in left, Matusik at first, Scioscia catching, Duncan at short, Williams in right, and Valenzuela pitching. For the Cardinals, Jack Clark is injured, so he's not here. It'll be Coleman in left, Smith in center, at short, McGee in center, Allen nicely playing first base and hitting cleanup. That tells you how desperate the Cardinals were in this game. Pendleton at third, Herr at second, Landrum in right, Heath catching, and Cox the pitcher. In real world, Dodgers won this game 4-3, the real game itself. Hello, Alan. Yes, definitely old school. All right, so I'm not going to talk about how to play Status Pro. I'm assuming everybody does know that. If you don't know that, there's plenty of how-to videos on that. So just going to go ahead and get the game going. Now, Danny Cox has a starting rating of 13, so we got the little pawn there. Valenzuela starting rating of 14. His pawn is here, and of course, each time he gives up a hit, a walk, or a run, we will be reducing that, and that tells you about when he's fatigued. All right, so I think we're ready to go. And after every 3 innings, we will be reshuffling and flipping these fast action cards to try to keep what time is in use. I'm not sure your question there, Aaron, if you can elaborate. For some reason I'm drawing a blank on your question. I'm not sure. It's 1986. I don't know if that is what you were asking. July 18th, 1986. Almost 40. It's 39 years ago to the day, so it's almost 40 years. But I didn't have. If I had the 85 set, I would have pulled out the 85 set. But I don't have the 85 set. I've got the 86 set. So it's the closest I could come to having a 40-year anniversary. All right, so we will get going. Of course, flipping the fast action cards. If you remember back in the day, you kind of got in a rhythm on doing that. Sometimes these cards will stick together. So what I like to do personally is pick up about a little mini bundle and just flip them as I have them in my hand rather than trying to separate them from this big block of cards. So Danny Cox facing Steve Sachs. Danny Cox facing Steve. I hope I'm close enough. I try to get wide enough to show all the board, but if you think I need to get closer to the cards so you can see the cards better, I can move this down a bit. I had it up there pretty high, so I could minimize it and get a little closer perhaps, if that would help you guys. This is a work in progress because it's the first time I've done a Status Pro game with this setup. If I go any lower, I'm gonna lose some of the peripherals here. So I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do with it right there. So we'll go with that. If I want to use the ring light, I guess I could put that on there, make it a little bit brighter, if that helps. All right, so we're ready to go. Danny Cox on the mound facing Steve Sax, and we flipped the first. Whoop, we got the. You know what? Since I pull these out, I'm gonna put these in the middle, just so you don't think I'm stacking the cards. We're gonna pick these up like this. Oh, thank you, Aaron. So we're gonna go ahead and start flipping. Danny Cox is a PB27, so the first flip is a 10. So that tells us we're under Steve Sax's card. He's looking for something 42 or less on this random number. The random number is a 54, so unfortunately for him, it's an out. He's a right normal batter, and a right normal batter will pop it up to the catcher. So he's going to pop it up to the catcher, Mike Heath, and there's one away. And I like to clear these fast action cards after every at bat to kind of give me a clean slate here. So Sax is out, and that will bring up Ken Landreaux, left-handed hitter. 6, we're under Cox, so we go to Cox's card, and we get a 55. That's going to be an out. Landreau's left normal, so we go to left normal on the out chart. It's a ground ball to first, everybody, but there is an asterisk, so we are checking the error chance of Alan Nicely. At first base, Nicely is an E7. So if we get something on there that says the error's 2 to 7, then there'll be an error. But this says none, so there won't be an error. It'll be a nice play. We'll call it 3 to 1 as he flips to Cox covering. And there's 2 down. Hello, Allard. Good to see you. So 2 away as Landreaux is retired. And here's Bill Madlock. So again, checking Cox. He's a 2-7. That's a 6, so we're under Cox. That's a 74, so it will be an out. He's a right normal batter. And that's going to be a fly to left field, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Dodgers here in the first inning. And Danny Cox keeps his full endurance as he gave up nothing. 3 up and 3 down inning. Go to the bottom of the first. It is Dodgers nothing and the Cardinals coming to bat. And this setup is, like I said, this is strictly a trial and error. First time I'm doing this with this particular webcam and everything, so I don't really know how it's going to turn out. It's all kind of a hey Justin, how you like that? I like that. Good old Folgers reference there. But yeah, so it's a work in progress. So if I do another game like of Status Pro, I may switch it around a little bit. I'm not sure, but hopefully this captures most of everything. All right, so Fernando Valenzuela on the mound. He's also a PB27. So as I like to do, I take a little small sample here to separate it from this big stack so it doesn't get all caught up here. All right, so the first play, that's a BD, but nobody's on base. So when there's no one on base, you simply ignore the clutch batting and flip a new card. And that's a 7, so we're under Fernando. And that's a 14, though. So Fernando, a 14 is a single to left field. So Vince Coleman will get himself a base hit. Fernando, you drop one, drops him to a 13 because he gave up that single. So Vince Coleman is at first base with a leadoff single. Now, the stealing mechanic. You can't really see it. It's right where my finger is up here. The stolen base chart in the upper left-hand corner. So Vince Coleman's going to try to steal, and the steal is basically very simple. You flip over this card, get a new random number, and check it on the board. It's either going to look at the catcher arm or the runner's speed or the runner's run rating, anything like that to tell what happens on this attempt. So we're going to flip the card. It's a 14. On the board, it says any rated runner will steal. So anybody would steal when you get a flip like 14. But Vince Coleman will steal second base. So he's at second base. You don't reduce anything on Valenzuela just for that. But he is at second base with nobody out. And that'll bring up Ozzie Smith. That's a 5, so we're under Fernando. A 13. Boy, Fernando's catching some bad breaks here. And anytime you get a hit off the pitcher's card, it's a 2-base advancement automatically, so Coleman will score. And Ozzie Smith, an RBI single, and the Cardinals jump all over Fernando on the first 2 batters. Some bad breaks by Fernando there with the low numbers on the fast action cards. So Ozzie's at first. He may be looking to run. And we're going to send Ozzie as well because Cardinals back in '86, that's all they did was run. So for Fernando, he's going to drop one for the hit and one for the run. So now he's down to 11. All right, so we're going to flip one card for the stolen base chance for Ozzie Smith. We get a 16, and that's a good number for Ozzie Smith. Any rated runner, SP, A, B, or C steals. He's an SPA, so Ozzie will steal second base. So second stolen base of the game as they are getting a good jump on Valenzuela, and Scioscia has no chance. So here's McGee with, again, nobody out, and Smith at second, 1 run already in. That's an 8, so we're going to Willie McGee's card. 63 on Willie McGee is an out. He's a switch normal, and that's a fly ball to right field. Now, the other aspect of this game are these charts. You don't have to guess about if a runner advances or whatever. You just look at the chart. So we go to runner on second chart. Runner on second. If I can find the runner on second chart. Got to be here somewhere. Oh, it's on the first page. All right. Runner on second. A fly out to right field, F9. Runner holds OBR A or B runner to third base. Well, Ozzie Smith is an OBR A, so he will take third on that fly out. So there's one away, but he does move up to third base. So it is a productive out for Willie McGee. And now the infield is going to have to come in. Infield will have to come in. They don't want to give up another run if they can avoid it. And, of course, Alan Nicely, not exactly your prototypical cleanup guy, is at the plate with Ozzie Smith at third base and only one out. So flip for Fernando. It's an 8, so we go to Nicely. That's a 52. He's going to be out. He's a right normal. Right normal is a ground ball to short. We're checking an asterisk because there is an error there. So we're going to check for an error on the shortstop, Duncan. He's an E5. Flip this over, and it says none. All right, so now we go to the chart with a runner at third. Go to our runner at third chart. Man on third. And it was a straight-out G6 with the infield in. Consult defensive option play chart. Okay, defensive option play chart. Now I got to remember where that is. Is that in the rule book or is that somewhere else? Must be in the rule book because it's not on these charts here. But I'm thinking with the infield in, you would just hold him. I'm not seeing a defensive option chart of any kind. Oh, it's on the board. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Dav. Defensive option chart. Oh, here we go. Way over here. All right. So according to this, OBR of A, which Smith is an OBR of A, 11 to 48 on a random number, he would be safe. 51 to 88, he would be out. So do they want to try to score him with the infield in, or do they want to hold him and wait for the next batter? I think 11 to 48, that's just about a 50-50 proposition. So they're going to send Ozzie Smith home. If this number is 11 to 48, he is safe. If it's a 51 to 88, he's out. That's a 13, so he's going to be safe. He's going to score. The second run will come in, knock Valenzuela down to an 11. Nicely, it's going to reach on a fielder's choice, and that's going to bring home the second run of the game. And it is now 2-0 Cardinals. As Alan Nicely, Dodgers took a chance and it didn't pay off. It is now 2-0 Cardinals, and that'll bring up Terry Pendleton. That's a 9, so we're under Pendleton. 13, boy, they're catching some good breaks on these plays here. 13 is a single to left. Nicely does not run well, so he will hold. But anytime there's a single off the batter card, we do check for an error on the particular fielder. This time it's a left fielder, and there's none. So there's no error to worry about, but Valenzuela back down to a 9. Boy, he's just running out of fumes here early on. First and second, only one out. Like I said, I haven't played this game in a long time, so if I make a mistake on a ruling, please chime in, especially Dav. Seems like you play this game a lot. So I'm thinking anything off the pitcher card is a 2-base advancement automatically, any hit. And any hit off the batter card, you check for an error. If there's any other thing on beside that, let me know if I'm missing something. All right, so Pendleton is aboard on the single. That brings up Tommy Herr. So we look at Valenzuela. That's a 7, so we're going to Valenzuela. It's a 71. He's going to be out. Herr is a switch normal. Switch normal is a G6A. That means the runner's advanced. The only play will be at first. It's kind of, if you're familiar with Stratomatic, like a ground ball C. So both runners are going to advance, but there is an asterisk, so we check for an error. 7 to 10 is a possible error, but I believe Duncan was a 5. Yep, Duncan's only a 5, so he will not make the error. It will be out number 2. Herr is retired 6-3 with the other runners moving up into scoring position. But now with 2 outs, it's Tito Landrum. They call him Terry Landrum, but really kind of affectionately goes by Tito Landrum. So with 2 outs, clutch situation. First base is open, but I don't think you want to start walking guys here. Fernando just wants to get out of the inning. That's an 8, so we're going to be under Landrum. 42 for Landrum, and that's a walk. So he didn't want to do it officially, but he does walk him. It wasn't intentional. It was an unintentional walk, but it loads the bases for the number 8 hitter, Mike Heath. So Fernando having a rough start to his ball game, and he was the all-star. He was an all-star in 86. He had won 20 games in 86. So it was definitely an all-star. He's just having a rough game. Thank you, Dad, for the confirmation on that. Here's Mike Heath, a 5, so we're under Fernando, and that's big. Can Fernando get the out he needs? 61, he might. Right normal for Heath is a ground ball to short, but again, we're checking for an error. It's got to be a 5 or less, and there's none there, so he will make the play. It was a GX6, so technically it's a fielder's choice, so they go the short way to second for the out. But 2 runs come in for St. Louis. They put 2 runs on Fernando here in the first inning. And at the end of 1, it is St. Louis 2 and the Dodgers nothing. So a rough first inning for Fernando. Dodgers will see what they can do, try to get back in the game. Franklin Stubbs, the left fielder, will lead off for the Dodgers. Cox a 2-7. That's an 11, so we're going to Stubbs. That's a 12, so that's going to be a single to left field. We got to check for an error because it came off the batter card. There is no error, but it will be a single to left. That's the first ding on Cox. And Danny Stubbs, or Franklin Stubbs, rather. I don't know where I got Danny Stubbs from. Franklin Stubbs is aboard on first base with the single. To start off the second inning, here's Len Matuszek. I know some of these guys are not household names, but that's just who's in the lineup. All right, but if you're a fan from the baseball fan from the 80s, you'll probably recognize most of these names. Danny Cox, a 10, so we're under Matuszek. That's a 37 for Matuszek, and that's going to be a strikeout. On Matuszek's card, he will strike out. First strikeout for Danny Cox, and Matuszek is retired. Every time I hear the name Matuszek, I think of John Matuszek from the Raiders. It's the only other Matuszek I'm aware of. Here's Mike Scioscia. Cox a 7, so we're under Cox. 56, that's an out. He is a left normal batter, and that will be a fly ball to right field for out number 2. Hauled in out there by Tito Landrum. 2 down, and that's going to bring up Mariano Duncan. Duncan, switch normal hitter. He later gave up switch hitting when he went to the Reds in the late 80s, early 90s. But in 1986, he was a switch hitter. 2 is Danny Cox. Hello, Craig. 53 is going to be an out. Switch normal is a ground ball back to Cox. He's an E10, so there could be an error, but there is none, so that's going to end the inning. So this time, Dodgers get a runner, but can't do anything with it. And we go to the bottom of the second, still 2-0. Still 2-0 in favor of the Cardinals. Let's see if Fernando can turn it around here. Danny Cox, the pitcher, will lead things off. So we'll see if Fernando can get off to a good start against Cox. That's a 2, so we're under Fernando. 78, he's going to be out. He's a pitcher, so on the out chart, there's a separate place for the pitcher. But in this case, everybody grounds to first, but we are checking the error on Matuzik. So Matuzik's error rating at first base, whoops, getting back over here, is a 5. He's an error rating of 5. And there's none. So no error, but it would be a 3-1 put out as he flips to Fernando covering, and Cox is retired. Back to the top of the order, and Vince Coleman, he started out the game with a single, stole second, and scored on an Ozzie Smith single, wreaking havoc. 7, we're under Fernando. 74, he's going to be out. He's a switch normal. And switch normal is a pop-up to the pitcher, Fernando. That's out number 2. So 2 down for Ozzie Smith. Ozzie, an RBI single his first time up, stole second and scored as well. 7, we're under Fernando. 23, that's going to be a strikeout for Fernando Valenzuela, his first strikeout of the game, and a much better inning for Fernando here in the second. As the Cardinals go quietly, 1-2-3. We go to the top of the third. Still 2-0 in favor of the Redbirds. Here on Fun Day Friday, July 18th, 2025, where we're playing a July 18th, 1986 game. So due up for the Dodgers will be the number 8 hitter, Reggie Williams. He is in right field for this game. So let's see what Reggie can do. PB27 for Cox. That's a 6, so we're under Cox. 78, he's out. He's a right normal batter. Right normal, grounds to short, but again, we're checking an error on Ozzie Smith, but there's no error there, so good play for Ozzie. And there's 1 away. That'll bring up Fernando Valenzuela, traditionally a pretty decent hitter as a pitcher. See what he can do. 11, we're going to go off Fernando's card. It's a 61, though. He's going to be out, and as a pitcher, well, everybody flies to right in that sequence, so fly ball to Landrum in right field for out number 2. And that'll flip it over to Steve Sax. I realize this is not the glamorous matchup here, but hopefully it's the enjoyment of status pro more so than the teams that are playing. All right. Here is Steve Sax against Cox. 9, we're going to Sax's card. That's a 51. It's just in the out range. Right normal batter will line it to third. So he lines it to Pendleton for out number 1. And that's going to end the inning. Oh, I'm sorry, out number 3, I should say. That's going to end the inning. So 3 up and 3 down go the Dodgers here in the top of the third. We go to the bottom of the third. It'll be Willie McGee to lead it off. McGee flew to right his first time up. And after this happening, we will flip the cards over and shuffle. 6, we go to Fernando. 64 is going to be an out. McGee is a switch normal. Switch normal says ground ball to short, but again, there's an asterisk, so we check for an error. No error there, so good play for Duncan. And he throws McGee out. 6-3, 1 away. And here's Alan Nicely, first baseman. 11, so we're under Nicely. 66, he's going to be out. Right normal, grounds it to first. We're looking at Matuzik for a possible error, but there is none. So Matuzik will make the play. Again, since it was an error check, I'll call it 3-1, just like I do X checks in Strat. So 2 down for Terry Pendleton. 4, we're under Fernando. 28, and that's a strikeout. Second strikeout for Fernando. And that will end the inning. So Fernando has settled in since that first inning. And at the end of 3, it is 2-0 in favor of the Cardinals. So I've got my discard pile here. And I've got the cards that weren't used. So I'm going to take these and put them in the middle. Then I'm going to flip them over, and then we're going to shuffle. So we'll just shuffle them up as good as I can shuffle them up. And we'll start our 4th inning. Danny Cox will be facing Landreaux, Madlock, and Stubbs here in the 4th. And again, you don't have to worry about innings pitch or any of that. Just follow the numbers on the reduction. That tells you about pitcher fatigue. So we get a 12. That's going to be right off of Landreau's card. 81, though, that's definitely going to be an out, left normal. Ground ball to second. There is an asterisk. We're checking the second baseman, Tommy Herr, to see if he makes an error. He does not. In case you're thinking, hey, there's never any errors on this thing. Well, the flip side of that card would have been an error on a 2 to 10. So that would have been an error had that side been put up there. So there are errors on this thing. They don't come often. They don't show up often, but they do show up. But this time Herr makes the play, 1 away for Bill Madlock. That's a 6 for under Danny Cox. 58, he's going to be out. He's a right normal batter. All batters ground out to short. We're checking Ozzie Smith to make sure he didn't boot it. He did not. So there's 2 down. 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the 4th. And that will send up Franklin Stubbs, the cleanup hitter. When your cleanup hitters are Franklin Stubbs and Alan Nicely, you know you got a rough lineup going. All right, here's Cox. 3 is off of Cox. 48 is going to be an out. Stubbs, left-handed power hitter, and he will pop it up to the catcher, Heath, and that's going to do it for the Dodgers here in the 4th. They come away empty-handed, 3 up and 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still 2-0 favor of the Redbirds. Pendleton will lead off for St. Louis, followed by, Pendleton made the last out when he struck out. I forgot to move the card. Good thing I have my score sheet here. It'll be Herr, Landrum, and Heath due up against Fernando. That's a BD, but nobody's on base, so we ignore those clutch at-bats when no one's on base. Same with the fielding. 3 is under Fernando. 37, and that's another strikeout for Fernando. 3rd strikeout for Fernando. He's picking up the strikeout ball. He's getting his groove in all of a sudden. Here's Tito Landrum. That's a 9, so we're under Landrum. 83, that's going to be an out. He's a right normal, and that's a pop up to second. So 2 down quickly. And here's Mike Heath. 3, we're under Fernando. 36, that's another strikeout for Fernando. That's his 4th strikeout now in 4 innings. He just had that rough start in the 1st inning. That's the only thing that's held him back. He's been solid since then, but his team has not managed to score any runs for him. All right, so we go to the top of the 5th, and it'll be Matuzik. Yeah, a lot of injuries in this game, apparently. Like I said, no Guerrero, no Jack Clark. That's 2 glaring things right there. And, of course, with the lefty on the mound, Van Slyke and LaValliere on the bench. So that weakens the Cardinals a little bit more as well. All right, here's Danny Cox to Matuzik. 7 is under Cox. 85, that's an out, left-handed power hitter. He's going to fly to center field where Willie McGee will haul it in. 1 down. Matuzik is done. And here is Scioscia. 7, we're under Cox. 46, that's going to be an out. He's a left-handed normal hitter. Ground ball to Ozzie. We flip for an error. There is no error, and that's 2 away. So Scioscia is retired on the ground ball to Ozzie. 2 down. And Mariano Duncan. 7, we're under Cox. 22, that's going to be a base hit. Base hit for Mariano Duncan. It's a 2-out single, and that'll move Cox down to an 11. 2-out single. Down 2-0. They still might want to steal and try to get him in scoring position. It's probably going to be a good play, I would think, because you want to get him in scoring position. So let's see if he can steal it. Again, we're going to our stolen base chart, looking at the random number and see what pops up. The random number is a 46. 46 says any runner rated SPA steals. Well, he's an SPA, so he will steal. Any runner rated SPB or less would have been thrown out, but Duncan does reach on the stolen base. Now, what that does do is leaves first base open for the number 8 hitter, Reggie Williams. So they could walk him intentionally, but Fernando's a pretty good hitter too, so they're going to go ahead and pitch to Reggie Williams. That's a clutch defense. Now, there is a runner on base with 2 outs, so obviously the clutch defense will come into play. So now we flip the next card and check who the clutch defense is going to be on. It's going to be on the first baseman, Adam Nicely. I don't think he's very clutch on the defense, but we'll check it out. Nicely, his clutch defensive rating is a 0. So that's not too good. So we go to our clutch defensive chart. Bring up the clutch defensive chart and see what comes up. I can find the clutch defensive chart. Don't tell me I can't find the clutch defensive chart. All right, clutch defense. I think it's on the, oh, here we go. No, is that on, no, that's on the Z chart. Where the heck is the clutch defensive chart? Is it in the rule book? Oh, it's on the board too. Okay, sometimes it's in the rule book and sometimes it's on the board. So clutch defense is on the board. You are correct. It's right here in the upper right-hand corner. You can't see it, but he is a 0. So for first baseman, 11 to 21 is a line out. 22 to 32, lead runner thrown out at next base. 33 or higher, no action occurs. So we'll see if anything happens. It's a 14. So 14 says it's a line out to the fielder. Lead runner is doubled off, but there's already 2 outs, so they're not going to be doubling off. But since he got a low number like that, even though he had a 0 clutch defense, he was able to make the play. So he snags it on the line drive by Reggie Williams. Nice play by Nicely. And that's going to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 5th, still 2-0. Thank you, Dad, for bailing me out of that, because like I said, I haven't played this game in a long time. I probably should have played a practice game, but didn't do it. Probably should have, but anyway. All right, here is Danny Cox to lead off the bottom of the 5th. 2, so we're under Fernando. 18, that's a base hit for Danny Cox. How about that? The pitcher gets a base hit off of Fernando's card, and that's going to put Fernando down to a 7. So Danny Cox is aboard. Here's Coleman. He's a decent bunter, but CC is not all that great, so just going to have him swing away. BD, so this is a runner on base, so we do check the BD factor for Coleman. Let's see here. Coleman. And when I did his steal in the first inning, I might have messed this up because it says here he steals second after single on his own card. I can't remember if he got a single off Fernando or off his own card. I don't remember. But he's so successful that if he gets a stolen base off his own card, a base hit off his own card, he automatically steals second. So let's see, BD rating is a 0. So again, we go to the BD chart up here for a 0. 11 to 24, it's a double to right center. 25 or 26 is a triple. 27 is a home run, but 28 or higher is no action, and we pick up the at-bat, resume the at-bat again. That's a 44, so nothing happening. We redo the whole at-bat. Okay, good thing to know there, Dad. Yeah, I'm going old school, so I'm not doing anything advanced. All right, so reboot the at-bat. 9, we're under Coleman. 88. Now, that's the one thing with the left-right splits, and I know you can barely see it here, but when a left-hander is on the mound and a batter's batting right-handed, which Coleman is a switch hitter, and 88 turns into a single one-base advance. So that's where in the basic game you get the left-right splits are on 87, 88, and then 11 through 15 for a lefty, 11 to 12 for righty. So it's a base hit for Coleman. He singles. Cox will go to second base. So runners at first and second. Fernando down to a 6. And how about that? First and second, nobody out for Ozzie Smith. He's an excellent bunter. So we're going to go to the bunt chart. Sacrifice bunt chart is right above the line scored here. He's a double-A. So we're going to go ahead and flip for the double-A. I don't see anything about reducing that with the corners in. So I don't see anything about that. So we're just going to flip for a random number. We get a 16, and it says batter out, pitcher to second, covering first, runners advance. All right, so it's going to be a sacrifice hit 1 to 4 for the out, but Ozzie makes the good bunt. and that puts runners at second and third with only one out, and that means the infield is going to have to come in for Willie McGee. Infield is in. You said something would be a hit. Is that, you're talking about the left-right split, or are you talking about the bunt? I'm kind of behind on the chat here. I'm thinking you're talking about the left-right split with that 88, if I'm not mistaken. But because I think on the bunt we just did the bunt. Yeah, left-right split. Okay, gotcha. All right, so runners at second and third with only one out. Infield is in for Willie McGee. Fernando trying to stay in this game. 4 were under Fernando. 42 is going to be a walk, so he's going to issue a base on balls to Willie McGee, and that will load the bases. Drops him to a 5. And now if you're the Cardinals, you'd love to have Jack Clark right about now, but they have Alan Nicely. So with the bases loaded, they're going to play back for the double play. They're going to see if they can turn 2 and get out of the inning. 5 were under Fernando. 81 is an out. He's right normal. Oh, it's a G2A, so that means runners are going to advance. So both runners are going to advance. The only play for the catcher, Socha, was to throw it to first base. 2-3 on the ground out. Cox will score. It's 3-0. Going to third is Coleman. Going to second is McGee. So we take another notch on Fernando for the run allowed. Another RBI for Nicely. He's had a, let's see, did he get a, no, he didn't get an RBI his first time up, I don't believe. All right, so now here's Pendleton. It's now 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals with 2 outs and runners at second and third. Fernando not out of the woods yet. That's a 10. We're under Pendleton. 15, that's a base hit. That's a single. Coleman will score. We'll check for an error. The single went to center field. There is no error, but now we got to check runner advancement. Coleman will score automatically from third, obviously. Pendleton will reach at first. The question is, does Willie McGee score? So first things first, we take Fernando down for a hit and a run. But if McGee scores, he'll be down to 1. So the hit went to center field. Second to home on a hit to center field. He's an OB. McGee is an OBR. Is he an A? Let's see. He's probably an A. Yep, he's an OBR A. So 11-62, he will score. You know they got to send him. That's 12. He's going to score. So it's a 2-run single. That puts Fernando down to the being just about out of it. It's a 2-run single for Pendleton as Coleman and McGee score. And 3 runs in the inning. It's 5-0 Cardinals. I'll tell you, the Dodgers won this game 4-3 real world, but Fernando not doing so good right now. He's on his last leg. Here's Tito Landrum. 7 is Fernando. 62, he might get out of it. Right normal is a pop to short, and he does get out of it. But damage done by the Cardinals is they put up 3 runs here in the 5th inning and take a 5-0 lead. 5-0 lead as we go to the 6th inning. And Fernando just about out of it. He's the leadoff batter, so I think we're going to pinch hit for Fernando. Oh, I forgot to add 20 about that. You were correct. I forgot to add 20. Fortunately, it didn't matter anyway because he was safe by a mile anyway. So Fernando will come out of the game, and we'll get a pinch hitter for the Dodgers. It'll be the only lefty on the bench, Greg Brock. He will pinch hit, and the new pitcher is going to be, let's see who they might want to go to here. They're going to go to Ken Howell. Ken Howell will be the new pitcher when we get to the 6th inning. It'll be Ken Howell. His relief rating is a 9. So Fernando had all sorts of issues. Let's do the totals for Fernando before I go any further. Let's see how many hits he gave it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got him for 6 hits, 5 runs all earned in 5 innings. He struck out 4, and he walked 2. So obviously not the stellar performance from Fernando that you would want if you're a Dodger fan, but oh well, that's the way it works. All right, top of the 6th, pinch hitter Greg Brock, batting for Valenzuela to lead off the top of the 6th. Cox still in great shape. He's only had 2 things against him, giving up 2 singles. That's been it. Cox, that's a 4. We're under Cox. 62, that's an out. He's a left power. Left power is, that's got to be a misprint. It should be LP there. It's a deep fly to right field. So that's a typo there. Deep fly to right field, and Brock is retired. So he's done on his pinch hitting performance. And Howell will be the new pitcher for the Dodgers. So here's Sachs. 7, we're under Cox. 62 is an out. Right normal is a ground ball to second. We're checking the error on her, possible error. And there is none, so her makes the play. 2 down. And it brings up Ken Landreau. CD, but we ignore that because nobody's on base. 4, we're under Cox. 15, that's a base hit for Ken Landreau. Base hit for Landreau. 2-out single. That's only the 3rd hit by the Dodgers in this game. And down 5-0. Landreau's not thinking about doing anything but staying there. And that'll bring up Bill Madlock. That's an 8. We're under Madlock. 67, that's an out. Madlock's right normal, which is a deep fly to left to end the inning. So the 2-out single really doesn't amount to anything. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's still 5-0 in favor of the Cardinals. Danny Cox. I didn't know they had custom boards for this. You talking about like with team logos and stuff? I'm not, like I said, I haven't followed the game that much. And I have it and I play it once in a while, but it's not on my radar most of the time. So I don't know what they got there. I know there's an advanced. There's a Status Pro Advanced, and there's a dice version and Advanced where the board has a whole lot more stuff on it. The players have left-right splits on their cards. There's all sorts of things like that. But not that familiar with it. Okay, so Ken Howell, the new pitcher. He'll be facing Landrum. Heath. What happened to Landrum's card? Oh, there he is down there. Landrum, Heath, and Cox due up here in the bottom of the 6th. Howell starts out as a relief rating of 9. He's a PB 2-6. So the first flip is an 8, so we're under Landrum's card. That's a 57. He's going to be out. Right normal is a ground ball to short, but we're checking for an error because of the asterisk, and there's no error by Duncan. He makes the play. And there's 1 away. And of course, we will flip and shuffle the deck after this half inning as well. Here is Heath. 8, so we're under Heath. 46 is going to be an out. Right normal is a pop to 3rd. So Madlock will field it. 2 down. And now that brings up Danny Cox. Not going to pinch hit for him. Might as well let him keep going. Clutch defense, but nobody's on, so we ignore it. 8, we're under Cox. 16, but Cox is going to strike out because he's a pitcher and not a good hitter. That should have been a hit for most people, that 16, but it'll be a strikeout for Danny Cox. And that will end the inning. So Howell pitches a 1-2-3 6th, and we go to the 7th. And again, we're going to take this deck and the remaining stuff that's been unused, put it in the middle, flip it over, and then shuffle. That's the best way I know to do it. I'm sure there's fancier ways, but this is good enough for this purpose. We start at the top of the 7th. Cox still at a 10, so he's doing very well for himself. And here's Franklin Stubbs. That's a 12, so we're under Stubbs. That's a 64, so that's going to be an out. That's a ground ball to third. Pendleton, check for error. There is none, and there's one away to start the top of the 7th. One down, and that brings up Len Matuzik. It's a 5 under Cox. 43 is going to be an out. Matuzik, left-handed power hitter. He grounds it to first baseman nicely. Checking for the error. There is none, so there's 2 away. 2 down, and that's going to send up Mike Scioscia. 7, we're under Cox. 53 is an out. Scioscia left normal. Will line it to first baseman and nicely makes a nice play to end the inning. So 7 shutout innings from Danny Cox. Again, the Dodgers won this game real world 4-3, but they're not having quite that much success here in this game. All right, we're at the bottom of the 7th inning, so of course that can only mean one thing, our 7th inning stretch. So stretch and sing, take me out to the ball game. All right, 7th inning stretch is in the books, and we are ready to keep it going. Bottom of the 7th, Howell had a 1-2-3 6th inning, so he still keeps his full 9, so he's definitely good for fatigue purposes. Here's Coleman to lead it off. We got a 6, so we're under Howell. 48, and that's going to be a walk. So Ken Howell will walk Vince Coleman. That will reduce him to an 8. But I think in the 7th inning, up 5-0, that Whitey Herzog will call off the Dogs. We will not have a steal for Coleman. He'll just stay there. And here's Ozzie Smith. 3 is under Howell. 52, that's a wild pitch, and that will get Coleman to second base anyway. Didn't have to steal it. He was gifted it on a wild pitch by Howell. That 52 falls into that 52-54 range for a wild pitch. So we reboot. BD, so there's runner in scoring position, so we will be checking the BD rating on Ozzie Smith. It is a 0. So again, this has to be a 27 or less to have any effect. That's a 34, so it's a reboot. Oh, you know what? I forgot. You were correct there. I should have done that. He is correct. When there is a wild pitch factor that comes up, you have to check the fact deck to see if, in fact, there is a wild pitch. And it's on this thing that says pitch. And if it says no, that means there's no wild pitch. If it says yes, there is a wild pitch. I don't know what the next number would have been, so we're just going to call it a wild pitch, and it's my error. Apologize for that. But that was my error on that one. All right. So no effect because Ozzie Smith didn't get on the BD chart. So go to 6 on Howell. 54, another wild pitch possibly, but this time it says no. So there's not going to be a wild pitch. It'll just be ball 1. And now we go to, again, Ken Howell. BD, so we're back on Ozzie Smith. but it's a 35, so it's no result. Just keep going until we find something that works. 5 is under Howell. 25, and that's a strikeout. That'll work for Howell as he finally strikes out Ozzie Smith for 1 away. And here's Willie McGee. Me and Willie McGee, I should say. All right, 7, we're under McGee. 34 for McGee, and he's going to strike out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Howell. His 3rd strikeout in 2 innings for Ken Howell. He's pitching pretty well. 2 down for Alan Nicely. 3, we're under Howell. 57 is an out. And right normal is a pop out to the catcher, or foul out to the catcher, however you want to phrase it. And Scioscia puts it away to end the inning. They leave Coleman at second base. So we go to the 8th. It is still 5-0 Cardinals. It'll be Duncan, Williams, and a pinch hitter for Howell. So that's going to do it for Howell. He's going to go 2 innings. And he will give up nothing. He walked 1, struck out 3, but gave up no hits or runs. So we go to the top of the 8th. Danny Cox against Duncan. 6, we're under Cox. 26, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Danny Cox puts the K on Duncan. And for Cox, that's only his 2nd strikeout of the game. Not really a strikeout pitcher. Here's Reggie Williams. BD, but nobody's on base, so we ignore it. 8, so we're under Williams. 65, that'll be an out. Right normal, ground ball to first, nicely. Make sure there's no error. There is none, so he will make the play. And there's 2 away. So 2 down, and we'll get a pinch hitter for Ken Howell. And we'll see who that's going to be. They're all right-handers on the bench now, so it doesn't really matter who you bring in, I guess. They're going to bring in Enos Cabell and let him hit. And then coming into pitch will be Ed Vandenberg, a left-hander. So Vandenberg, a lefty, will be coming in for the Dodgers. But Enos Cabell will step up and take his hacks at Danny Cox. See what he can do with 2 outs and the bases empty. We get a 5. We're under Cox. 55, that's an out. Right normal is a ground ball back to Cox. His error rating's a 10, and that is a 10. So Danny Cox will boot it. See, we do get errors in this game. So there are errors that can come up in this game. Drop Cox to a 9. It's an E1. That's the first error of the game, and it's on the Cardinals, no less. But Cabell is aboard, and that'll bring up Steve Sachs. That's an 8, so we're under Sachs. 16, that is a base hit to left field. So Sachs will make it to first. Cabell will stop at second. We'll check for an error on the left fielder, Coleman. There is none. But maybe Cox starting to tire a bit. First and second, 2 outs. And you wonder if the Cardinals might go to the bullpen just to keep Cox from hurting himself any further. We'll see how they want to play this. And with coming up to bat is Landreaux. So they're going to make a move to the bullpen. They're going to pull Cox and bring in left-hander Pat Perry. So Pat Perry will be the new pitcher for the Cardinals, left-hander. And Cox will leave. Perry is a relief rating of 8. So Cox, nice job by Mr. Cox. He's going to go 7 2/3 shutout innings. Get the numbers on Cox. Hello, Marlon. All right, so Cox goes 7 2/3. He's going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 hits. Both runners are his responsibility, so he could possibly give up 2 unearned runs, perhaps. He didn't walk anybody, which was big, but he only struck out 2, which wasn't a whole lot to that. But Pat Perry, he's going to see if he can't finish off this inning, if nothing else, as he faces Landreaux, center fielder, lefty on lefty matchup. Perry is a 2-6. That's a 4. We go to Perry. 77, he's an out. Landreaux, ground ball to third. We're checking the error on Pendleton, and there is no error. And that will do it as Pat Perry gets out of the mini jam and takes care of business. Keeps the Dodgers off the board here in the 8th, and we can close the book on Cox. He gave up nothing. So we go to the bottom of the 8th, and the new pitcher will be Ed Vandenberg for the Dodgers. He will pitch the 8th inning, try to keep things close. He's going to be facing Pendleton, Herr, and Landrum, the scheduled hitters. He's a PB27 with a relief rating of 8, so we'll see what he can do. It's a BD, but nobody's on base, so we ignore it. 4, we're under Vandenberg. 48 is going to be an out. Pendleton switch normal, flies to right field, and that's hauled in out there by the right fielder Reggie Williams, 1 away. And that brings up Tommy Herr, switch hitter. 10, we're under Herr. 37 for Herr is a walk, so Tommy Herr will draw the base on balls. Move Vandenberg down to a 7. But up 5-0 in the 8th inning. They're not going to try any running or anything. They're just going to play it straight up. Here's Tito Landrum. 8, we're under Landrum. 71 is going to be an out. Right normal is a ground ball. I'm sorry, a pop up to third. No error there. It is fielded in foul territory by Madlock for out number 2. So 2 down, and here comes Mike Heath, number 8 hitter. Vandenberg to Heath. 5, we're under Vandenberg. 67, that's an out. Heath, right normal, ground ball to second, and there's no error, and that will do it for the Cardinals. Vandenberg gets out of it, just a 1 walk, and that's it. Nothing else going on. And we go to the 9th. Last chance for the Dodgers. So Vandenberg goes 1 inning, gives up a walk, nothing else. Top of the 9th we go. Pat Perry looking to finish it off. Not a save situation, so Worrell will stay seated in the bullpen. I assume so, Jeremiah. I don't know anything about the dice, but it would have to be because it's a base 8 game. So it would have to be a base 8, I assume, or 8-sided dice, I assume. I think Kurt Berglund and maybe some others have had the dice version of Status Pro on videos on YouTube. I don't know for sure. I'm more familiar with the old school. That's what I grew up playing. This is the first board game I ever played was this back in the 80s, mid 80s. So let's see here. Pat Perry to Bill Madlock. That's a 9. We're under Madlock. That's a 13. So Madlock gets himself a base hit. We'll have to check for an error. The 13 means it went to left field, so we're checking the error on Coleman. There is no error, but it is a base hit for Madlock. So Madlock leads off the 9th with a base hit, and that brings up Franklin Stubbs, a lefty. They could be going to the bench here, and I believe they will. They're going to use a pinch hitter, Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall will do the pinch hitting here. Or will they? No, actually, they're going to use Bill Russell. He's got a better average. They're going to use Bill Russell. He's got better chances for hits. So Bill Russell will come in and pinch hit for Mr. Stubbs. See what he can do. Bill Russell with Madlock at first. A 7, so we're under Russell. 45, he's still going to be out, right normal. is a ground ball to short. There's a GX6, which means a fielder's choice. Checking Ozzie for an error. There is none. So it's a fielder's choice. So Madlock is retired. Russell will take over at first base as the new base run. But now there's one away on the 6-4 fielder's choice. And that brings up Matuzik. But he won't bat. He'll be called back. And they will bring out, this time they'll bring out Mike Marshall, right-hander. So Mike Marshall will come in and pinch hit for Matuzik, as Tommy Lasorda trying to pull out all the stops he can. Perry, 11, we're under Marshall. 66, he's out. Right power is a pop-up to short. So 2 down. And down to their final out is Mike Scioscia. Scioscia, do they pinch hit for him with Trevino? They will. So Scioscia is going to be called back. Trevino is a better hitter, average-wise. So they will go to Trevino, pinch hit for Scioscia. So they bring in all the right-handed pinchers they can against the lefty Perry. Last chance. 4, we're under Perry. 54, he's an out. Right normal, he's going to pop it up to the catcher. And hauling it in is Heath, and there's your ball game. The Cardinals flipped the script on the Dodgers. And instead of losing 4-3, they win it 5-0. As they are shut out by the Danny Cox and the Cardinals. Final score of 5-0. Let's get the totals. Oops, let's bring the board down here a little bit. Let's get the totals here for you. Let's see. Pat Perry is going to go an inning and a third of relief. He gives up 1 hit, but nothing else. No walks, no strikeouts. So the Cardinals come away with no runs on 5 hits and no errors. Dodgers did make an error, 5 runs. And for the Dodgers, they only get 6 hits. So there's your final line score, 5, 6, and 1 for the Cardinals. 0-5-0 for the Dodgers. Winning pitcher Danny Cox, losing pitcher Fernando Valenzuela. And the Cardinals take care of the Dodgers here on Fun Day Friday. Not a fun day for the Dodgers, that's for sure, as they take it on the chin. Of course, there is no, at least in basic Status Pro, there is no home field advantage. So in your mind's eye, you can say we're at Busch Stadium, but really, realistically, there is no advantage for that. But fun game. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't play it very often. So I'm glad Dav was here to correct me on some of the rules. Yep, Status Pro gets some. Now, like I said, other people have Status Pro Advanced out there on videos or a dice version or whatever. I'm not familiar with those. I've never played those. I've only played this basic version. The only thing I've done that's different is I've gotten some cards that have left-right splits on them. So I don't use what's on the board for the left-right splits. I use what's on the card. But in this case, that was not the case in this instance. So there you go. Final score. I'll show the score sheet's kind of messy, but there's the score sheet. 4-3. Winning pitcher Danny Cox, losing pitcher Valenzuela. I guess player of the game would be Danny Cox with his 7 2/3 of shutout baseball. Coleman could give hit to him. He had 2 hits and a walk, stole a base and scored 2 runs. But I think Danny Cox is probably going to be your player of the game. All right, so next Friday, the 25th, we'll have another fun day Friday of some game. I don't know which, but I think what I'm going to do is not be tied down to a July 25th game of a particular season. I'm just going to pick either an opening day game or what I think is a good game from that particular season for that particular game engine. So we'll see what happens with that. But next Friday will be Friday Fun Day. For that. So it'll be a different game again that I've played before, but just haven't played in a long time. So good to bring out some of these older games that have just been sitting collecting dust. It's good to bring them out and give them some exposure and some love, as they say. Tomorrow, of course, will be the NBC game of the week. on season ticket baseball, 1978. It will be the Astros at the Pirates. That'll be at noon Eastern tomorrow. Tonight, I'm not sure if I'm doing a game tonight or not. Depends on what's going on and how I'm feeling. So I don't want to commit to a tonight game because I might not play a game tonight. Sunday night will certainly be the Sparky Bowl, Game 4, between the Cincinnati Reds and the 1976 Cincinnati Reds and the 1984 Detroit Tigers, where the Reds lead that series 2-1. But Game 4 in Detroit, trying to even the series. Jack Morris will be on the mound for the Tigers against Gary Nolan for the Reds. So those are the tentative things that are coming up this weekend. And speaking of weekend, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Hope you're enjoying your weekend once it starts. And if you're working, obviously it hasn't started yet. But Friday, what's his name saying? Alan Jackson. There's 5 o'clock somewhere. So somebody will be getting off at 5 o'clock at some point. So that's good to go from here. Hope you enjoyed that presentation of Status Pro Baseball. Like I said, it's my first time doing the Status Pro Basic game with this particular setup with my webcam and everything. So I don't know if this is the best way to capture the board and show as much as I could show. I do have the lineup boards here, but it did kind of cover up my base running advancement. But I can just flip it back like that and get that, no problem. And this covered up the squeeze play, but I really wasn't using a squeeze play. Well, you're welcome, Allard. I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed seeing something different on the channel. Instead of seeing Stratomatic and Inside Pitch all the time, it's always nice to get something new out there for Fun Day Friday. So I'm going to keep Fun Day Friday going as long as I am up to it. Now, eventually I'm going to start repeating games because I don't have so many games to play. But so eventually I'll go back to maybe Payoff Pitch or Replay Baseball or something when it comes around full circle. But there are at least, that I know of, at least 3 other games that I can play that I have not played yet that I can trot out for the next 3 Fun Day Fridays. So let's go do it from here. Again, Cardinals shut out the Dodgers 5-0 here on Status Pro Basic. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.